And so we are in a different community, banded with love. The African love extends to every part of the continent. At this time, there was no greed. At this time, there was no acquisition of private property. Everyone sees his neighbors as brothers and sisters. As a matter of fact, there was no capitalism at this time in Africa. Then came the white race from a distant land called Europe. And this is where our problem began in Africa. They came with their gifts. They came with mirrors. They came with box of matches. They came with dry gin. They came with dengon, and they came with umbrellas. In exchange for this, they enslaved us. They took away our birthrights. Men and women were enslaved. Young youths, young men who the economic propelling force of this nation depend on were enslaved. And so they trekked down to the Atlantic Ocean from wherever they are coming from. And while trekking, they trek under a very harsh atmospheric condition. And while trekking, they carry the white man on their shoulder. You might want to ask me, how come they did not run away? I forgot to tell you, the white man was so armed to the teeth with sophisticated weapon. But we have charms, we have Ogun, we have Amadioha, we have Shango. How come they never use this power against the white man? At this point, our chief, our king, our chief priests have been bought over by the white man. And that's why sometimes I do say, even the gods are biased. So they trek from their various houses down to the Atlantic Ocean. In Badagry, when they get to Badagry, they cross the lagoon to the land of no return. I've been to that land. There's only one house in that land. And in that house, there's one well inside that land. The white man makes sure every black slave drink from the water in that well. The well is over 300 years old. And when you drink from that well, you forget everything about your house. From that land, they moved to the ocean, the shores of the ocean, where they have been ushered into the lower deck, which is under the ship. And that place, they'll be chained for 2 to 3 months, depending on their destination. In that same place is where they will poo. That is where they will eat. And for 2 to 3 months, the white man feed them with just one slice of bread per day. And for 400 years, this evil continued. For 400 years, our people were being moved to the Western world, to develop the Western world. It got to some points that about 75 Igbo slaves bounded themselves together and committed suicide. They choose to die than to live a life of slavery and servitude. And so they bounded themselves together and they drowned themselves in the ocean, and they all died. For those that get to the new world, which is the Western world, some are being sold to the new slave master. The new slave master then put a mark on their body using an iron, very hot iron from the fire, while others who have been sent to the sugarcane plantation have their mouth padlocked so that they will not eat from the sugarcane in the farm. And this evil continued. This slavery was regarded as the darkest age in human history. And the people that died, we have 60 to 150 million people died, far above those that died in the First and Second World War, even in the Third World War, because there's not going to be Third World War again. After the slave trade, then came the ages of colonialism and imperialism. As a matter of fact, while we were thinking about the pains of this slavery in Africa, a meeting was going on at the same time in Berlin, in Germany, called the Berlin Conference of 1884 and 1885. This Berlin Conference was organized by a German called Otto von Bismarck. And the essence of this Berlin Conference was to balkanize African people among the European nations. The word balkanize means to divide African nations, African continents among the people, the great countries of Europe. And this was done to avoid the clash of the titans of Europe in the African continent. And unfortunately, Nigeria, my country, fell into the hand of Great Britain. I want you to know this. At this point, we are people without name. There was no Nigeria at this point. We had no name. And so we fell in the hand of the Great Britain. So the Britain came down to officially and legally take over the administration of this territory called Nigeria. And they took over this administration from a wicked man called Sir Tubman Goldie. Yes, any day you eat gala, check the back, you see UAC. That was the company then. And they took over the administration from this man. The day they took over this administration and they started their administration officially in Nigeria was January 1st, 1900, 7:20 a.m. in the morning. And they took over the administration. And the man who led this administration, his name was Sir Frederick Lord Lugard. Sir Frederick Lord Lugard introduced a lot of policies in these our nations. And chief among his policy was the indirect rule system. Indirect rule system was a system that subjected us to the administration and rulership of the British government. Why the system also made our chiefs, our king, puppets before the colonial master. He went further to amalgamate the northern and southern protectorates, which was against the will of the people. He amalgamated people of different race, different religion, different ethnic group, and different culture. One important thing happening during this man's administration was that his girlfriend, Flora Shon, gave us the name called Nigeria. And he merged two factors together, which is Niger and area. This was because our territory is located around one great river called River Niger. And so we bear a name given to us by the girlfriend of a man called Flora Shon. And 200 million Nigerians still bear that name up to date. And our problem continues. A time came that people of this territory became fed up of this British colonial administration. And they told the British, we want independence, we want freedom. After some years, the British gave us the independence. And we said, thank God we have freedom. But the freedom fell into the hands of the wrong people. The people who took over after independence had two mission statements. First was to dance to the tune of the British colonial master, and second was to fill their pocket with the national wealth. After some time, we had the first military coup in Nigeria. It was a very bloody military coup which led to the death of people like Sir Tafawa Balewa, Ahmadu Bello, and Samuel Akintola. A few months after that, we have a counter coup which led to the death of the then head of state, which is General Agoyin Ironsi. While we're thinking about what has befell our country, blaming each other, boom, we have the Civil War. The Civil War was a war between the federal government and the Biafran secessionists, and it lasted for 30 months, and 2 million people died. After the Biafra war, we had peace. Thank God we had peace, but it was a graveyard peace. It was peace with fear and tension. The first republic ended, and the second republic came in. But these same people that are in power had no intention, would never had us at heart. Their only intention was to fill their pocket with the national wealth. Democracy, as propounded by Abraham Lincoln, as the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, only remain a definition in Nigeria and not a reality. And so our problem continues. Money has been stolen every day. National property, public property converted to be private property. The roads are bad. The national grid keeps collapsing every week. Snake keeps swallowing money. Hospitals went on strike. The roads are bad. Even the almighty ASU also went on strike. Even the monkeys were not left out. They stole our money and took it to the evil forest to spend. And our problem continues in this country. Then we had the best free and fair election in Nigeria in 1993. But unfortunately, the election was cancelled. And our problem continued. This same set of bourgeoisies, this same set of leaders never had intention, had interest for us. They pitched us against each other. They told us that my problem is the man beside me. My problem is my neighbor. They told us right from childhood that the northerners are warmongers. The only thing they like is blood and war. They told us that the man from the east are all Easterners. And they told us the Yoruba people are betrayers, never to trust them. But everything that has a beginning surely has an end. My problem is not the Hausa man from the north. Neither is my problem the Igbo man from the east or the Yoruba man from the west. Our problem is this set of people who never wants to leave. Our fathers served their father. We are serving them. And they want us to serve their children. We have windows of 4 years to make decisions every time. Another window is approaching us. Another season is upon us again. My gratitude to this nation at this time is, what will you do this time around? Another window is about to be open to us. Will you do things the way you used to do it? Or you do it differently this time? So I call upon you, my fellow compatriots, that we should arise and take up our civic responsibility and do the right thing at this time. But whatever decision you want to take, You have the right to take whatever decision you want to take. But I want you to know something, that freedom is never given, but freedom is won. Thank you.